Wings of the Eagle exists to unify and help everyone through the three great controversies of our time: the end-time scriptures, Israel, and the unseen realm. Whatever UFOs or UAPs are, and whoever is behind them, is somehow a part of this unseen world. So we are committed to learning and educating as many as possible about what is really happening. The only way we can do this is together. Please give whatever you can now at wingsoftheeagle.com/donate. Hey friends, welcome back to Unsealed. This is the official podcast, Wings of the Eagle. Christopher Manti is me. You can find me on the X platform at Manti4, MANTEI4. And wherever you are listening or watching right now, please hit the share button as a favor to me. It would be so very appreciated. Please do that if you're on X, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or on Spotify, one of the audio-only podcasts. People still do that, you know. So please go ahead and hit that share. Love you for that. Thank you. And do support this work, as you just heard. We forego the traditional intro of the Unsealed today because I wanted to get right to this. And I want to involve as many of you as possible. So please say hello, where you are, who you are. If you have any questions, I will address them at the end. But there was a hearing 2 days ago in Washington, D.C. You probably know about it if you follow these things. I was there. You didn't have to be there. It was streamed for the world to see. But I was there in the building. I was actually in the overflow room as it occurred in the Rayburn office building there, and I knew felt strongly that I should be on scene for that day. It felt important, and I met a lot of folks, a lot of great folks. Hopefully made some connections, and maybe some of you are watching now. That's awesome. But part of what came out in that hearing, for those of us who have been following along since last couple of years, but especially since David Grush came out last year, there wasn't a whole lot of new information presented, but there was a document submitted that was just reported on a couple of weeks ago, and now it has been introduced into the public record as a whistleblower report of this program that's called Immaculate Constellation. And I don't think anyone needs to worry anymore about naming it, because now literally the world knows or can find out. And I wanted to read through this because it's stunning. This was not, it was mentioned during the testimony, but it was not really gotten into at all. And there was some confusion about how it got here and who wrote it and all that. So we're going to do our best to straighten all that out. We don't know who wrote it. This whistleblower chooses to remain anonymous for now. But it is extensive. So I want to read it. I want to go through it with you and see exactly what we can glean from it. There are several things that are important to know right now. And that's why we titled this episode what we did, which is Immaculate Constellation document shows illegal UFO programs, Bush through Biden. Bush, the dad, okay, 1991. I'm not saying it started then, but there's information in here proves if it's true, if this is accurate information, it absolutely proves that your government and other governments of the world, by the way, no one's getting off this scot-free. There's been an absolute false narrative presented to you as a citizen of America and of the earth by your leaders for a long, long time now. Even if it's just 1991, let's just say that's the beginning. That's been how many years now? Right? It's been what? 34, 33 years? Long time. And all that while, the official pronouncements have been there is no such thing. There is no program. There are no anomalies. We know everything. We can figure it all out. We're going to resolve all these. Yes, there are unidentified things, but they're all, nothing's weird about them. Certainly none of this stuff that, we can't explain. That's not real. X-Files, ha ha, chuckle, yada, yada. All right, let's read this thing. Hey, Floyd, Central PA, welcome, my brother. Madame Rex, thank you. You're listening in the car. All right, praise the Lord. And hello, bond servant. Thank you for being here as always. By the way, you can subscribe as a member now on YouTube, on the YouTube channel for Wings of the Eagle or Patreon. Please do so. Okay, here's the introduction, and then we're going to cover the important stuff here. This document, this is the Immaculate Constellation document, I'm calling it. Nancy Mace from the committee published this in full. You can go find it on, I forgot to link that in the description. You can go find it. This document is the result of a multi-year internal investigation into the subjects of unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP. I know some people hate that and want to say UFO, and I don't mind that argument, but there's a reason why it's called this beyond changing the term. It's because it's more than objects. Technologies of unknown origin, which they differentiate this person in the government. This, you're going to hear very governmental, bureaucratic, militaristic type of language and abbreviations and stuff. So this definitely reads like someone who works for the government. Technologies of unknown origin, or TUO, and non-human intelligence, NHI. Make of that what you will. Again, that is a term that it covers several possibilities. Okay, typical Hollywood alien understanding, which is just a civilization from another planet. It also covers artificial intelligence. It also covers things that are not human, but not from elsewhere, potentially. Anyway, it covers all that stuff. This investigation was undertaken in response to, quote, well, I'm quoting everything, to urgent and credible threats to the public good and safety of the United States of America, and provided to Congress through the UAP whistleblower mechanisms established by the fiscal year 23, FY23 National Defense Authorization Act and the FY23 National Intelligence Authorization Act. In other words, this is new. This is brand new. The fiscal year 2023 only started in September 2022, and the law didn't come into force till 2023. So at the most, this is a year old, this information. The data consult, and by the way, if you have any questions or you don't understand a term or something, just go ahead and type it in. And if you're listening afterwards, I'm sorry, you lose. You can still put it in the comments, and I may reply if I see it. The data consulted during this investigation and summarized in this report originate from non-public data held within the executive branch of the United States government. So this is telling you this is not something you're going to find in the public domain. It's not available. It's never been said before. And it is residing from the executive branch. That covers a lot of ground, okay? It could mean a lot of things. The entire Defense Department, the CIA, all the intelligence agencies, all the Homeland Security, all that. Everything that's not Congress or the Supreme Court, basically, is the executive branch. The author obtained access to this information while pursuing their lawful duties as an employee of the Department of Defense. That doesn't mean they're still an employee of the Department of Defense. This public version of the author's report was reviewed. Okay, this sentence is full of goodies, okay? This public version of the author's report was reviewed and approved for public release by the Department of State, Bureau of Global Public Affairs. If I was a journalist, if I worked for the media and I was worth my salt, I would take that sentence and run right now to the State Department and say, wait, you just cleared this giant treasure trove of information. First of all, did you? And if so, are you saying everything in it is true? Because you authorized it to come out publicly. Now, it says the public version of this report. That tells me there's a non-public version of this report, which sucks. I hate that. Okay. Whistleblowers are supposed to just come out with everything, especially if they're still anonymous. What's the problem? Why do we need a non-public version? And I think that's alluded to at the end. There's a whole section that has nothing in it. Okay, so anyways, it was, even though this is from the Department of Defense times, whenever this person put this together, it was released through the State Department. Why is that? Why wasn't it released through the Defense Department? Why is this person no longer in the Defense Department? Are they in the State Department? You could surmise that. But again, go ask them. The results of this investigation are deeply disturbing. Elements of the U.S. executive branch have conspired. Now, these are serious words. Okay? This is not a topic you can just throw away or think is irrelevant or kooks or people who don't know what they're talking about, conspiracy theorists or whatever. The results of this investigation are deeply disturbing. Elements of the U.S. executive branch have conspired to prevent the U.S. legislative branch, that's the Congress, the House and the Senate, have conspired to prevent the U.S. legislative branch from exercising its lawful powers of governance with respect to UAP, TUO, and NHI issues. UAP, the actual vehicles, TUO, technology of unknown origin, and non-human intelligence. All those issues have been, this is saying, illegally kept from the Congress. First of all, anything kept from the Congress is illegally done. There is literally nothing. There are no programs in your executive branch. Nothing military, nothing in intelligence, nothing of any subject matter. None of it can be kept from Congress totally. Nothing. Does that mean it's not happening? Of course it's happening. This is the greatest of those. Maybe the only one left. The information provided by the author strongly suggests that the U.S. executive branch has been managing UAP/NII issues without congressional knowledge, oversight, or authorization for some time, quite possibly decades. This criminal conspiracy, and that's exactly what it would be if it's true. This criminal conspiracy keeps the elected government of the United States and its citizens ignorant to profound discoveries and dire threats originating from the existence of UAP, NHI, and their technologies, profound discoveries, and dire threats. Now, don't come at me with anything, okay? Just if we don't take this issue seriously and see that it is both positive and negative potentially, how could it not be a threat? And how could it not be profound discovery? Right? You can't be a serious person about this topic and not see both. Unambiguous evidence demonstrating the reality of UAP, NHI, and TUO has been made available to Congress by multiple independent UAP whistleblowers. So this author who wrote this report is saying, regardless of what you're about to read, there's other independent means that these other people who've come forward with proof, it says, unambiguous evidence about the reality of UAP, NHI, and TUO. Reality, not speculation, not we need more investigation, not we need more sensors to pick these things up to see if they're real. They are real. UFOs are real. Non-human intelligence, whatever that means to you, is real. And technologies of unknown origin. In other words, we have stuff that we can't explain what it is. Nobody made it. And it's not from nature. It's all real, this is saying. And independent means they have nothing to do with each other. These whistleblowers who are coming and giving this proof, this unambiguous evidence, are not in the same group. They shouldn't even know each other. That was what independent means, independent of each other. This document is but one item of evidence brought to Congress. Much more exists and hopefully will be made available. In this public version of the report, again, information is organized into 7 categories of evidence, including unacknowledged special access program, USAP. We talked about that a lot on this podcast lately. Imagery intelligence, human intelligence, signals intelligence, U.S. government bureaucratic records, U.S. government historical records, and other sensitive sources. I think that's what the end is referring to, where it says ear to ear or something. In other words, just private conversations that haven't been written down or recorded anywhere. All information in this report is derived from access to non-public information. So again, this is just saying I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Everything you're about to see, I didn't just get off the internet. So either it's completely made up, and this person is a big duty, or it's real. Section 1, Unacknowledged Special Access Program, Immaculate Constellation. Immaculate Constellation is an unacknowledged special access program established following the public disclosure. This blew my mind, guys. This blew my mind. Okay, it's one thing to say this program exists, this is its name, whatever. Some people said, oh, that can't be its name, it's too long, or the conventions, or it can't be true. I don't care about all that. Is it a USAP or not? Established following the public disclosure of the ATIP OSAP programs by Luis Elizondo in 2017. Upon disclosure to Congress, it was determined that this USAP and its collateral information, in other words, the information that is collected into it, have not been lawfully reported to Congress. I don't care if this is the only one, which it certainly isn't. But if that statement, I don't have to go any further. If that one sentence is right, you need to pray. You need to acknowledge the truth of the situation, which is The United States, as you know it, or you think you know it, does not exist. Because there are programs, money, resources, lives being spent and risked, hidden from everyone, including the people we elect to lead us, who need to know every program. Otherwise, it's a separate government, unelected, unaccountable, stealing our money and our lives. That's not in the Constitution. You can't do that. That's literally the opposite of what our founding documents say you need to do to keep this nation. Otherwise, you have a different nation with different, you have an authoritarian or dictatorship. Okay, here's the kicker, though. What I said blew my mind. Established following the public disclosure of ATIP OSAP by Luis Elizondo in 2017. That may... Madam Rex is going gorilla here. She's literally shopping right now without headphones, ergo making everyone in the store listen. Yeah, listen up, everybody. Everyone in the store, listen. In other words, this is claiming that Immaculate Constellation is an unacknowledged special access program created to get revenge in response to the other secret programs coming out because of Lou Elizondo's apparently truthful, and I don't have a reason to doubt. I'm not saying anyone should have doubted him, but those of you who did, because that came out, and I don't think this is just referring to the existence of the programs, because they tried to poo-poo that, right? Remember? Oh, it never existed. Oh, he was not in control of that. Oh, there was no record of this in that department or that work. All lies, by the way. The email, their correspondence proving that it exists somehow disappeared. And then all of a sudden reappeared. They're playing a game with you. A very evil, illegal game. So it was created in response to that. And I'm thinking, well, what else came of that? In 2017, you have the famous 3 videos. The New York Times story. Of course, Elizondo came out then. Chris Mellon started to come out then because they had enough, basically. They knew what was happening. They saw this bull, and they said, that's it. I'm doing something about this. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's what history is going to show. And so because those videos came out, and if you remember, if you were paying attention back then, or you can read about it now after the fact, but if you're paying attention, you remember that when they first came out, and by the way, thank you, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. They're directly in line with all of this. That's how the videos got published. Because up till then, it was just like, well, it's a great unknown. These people are kooks. There's no proof. There's no video. Why is there no videos from the government, from the Air Force or the Navy or whatever, where they're flying around? Why don't they see these things? Oops, they do. And here's instrumentation showing them on video for the world to see. And initially, you remember, they denied that they were real. That's not ours. That was unauthorized. Anything you see is not, we're not going to comment on it because it just wasn't, it's not our stuff or whatever. And then they had to admit was it 2020? I know 2020 was very busy for a lot of reasons, but I think they used that cover to say, oh, by the way, it's all true. Those videos are real. They're not showing secret tech. This is not our stuff. What you see in those videos is unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UFOs. They're legit. They had to admit they were legit. So let's sick them, boys. We need a new program to vacuum up all this stuff so nothing else gets out. So we can't have something like this happen again. That's what it says. I mean, that's what, read between the lines. That's exactly what it says. And it's obviously completely illegal. Immaculate Constellation's primary mission is collecting imagery intelligence on unidentified UAP. And, okay, now what I just said is it's exactly what I mean. They're worried about more videos and pictures coming out into the public. So this is saying this new program, this USAP, is in force to collect imagery. Collect it. Just vacuum it up and keep it away from someone who's not in on the program. So no more Luis Elizondos can happen. No more Jeremy Corbells can leak stuff out. Imagery intelligence. Its purpose is to keep the videos and pictures from your eyes, from you, citizen. Specifically, to not let it come out publicly. And here's another nugget. Imagery intelligence on UAPs and now why is this? This is interesting that these are two separate terms. UAPs and ARV/RV. Reproduction vehicles. What's the A about? Well, it apparently stands for alien reproduction vehicles. Now, does that, it's, what can that mean? It's, why is it not a UAP? That means somebody has reproduced something, a vehicle. Does that mean human beings? Does that mean governments, whether us or another government, has recreated based on UAP or unknown technology or NHI information or what have you, their own vehicles that are not supposed to exist? Does it mean that? It might. Or what else could it mean? Well, it could potentially also mean that there are vehicles that exist to produce other UFOs, and they classify them separately because maybe they know they're not unidentified. They know what they do. They create other ones. I just don't know. Somebody else help me out. Okay. So the primary mission is collecting imagery intelligence on UAPs and ARVs, utilizing tasked and untasked U.S. military intelligence resources. I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to look into this. Maybe somebody knows. I'm not sure what tasked versus untasked resources mean. Tasked probably means they're on mission doing something else, or maybe specifically for this program that's tasked to do it. Untasked might mean it's a platform or something used to collect information for another program that this one is using, whether it be stealing from it or using it in addition. So it's not their primary project, but they're using somebody else's project to get the data. I don't know. Anyway. Using those resources as part of a network of SAPs, special access programs, as part of a network of special access programs linked to non-human intelligence, NHI, and UAP technologies, Immaculate Constellation acts as a nexus for collecting, analyzing, and disseminating intelligence on the activities, capabilities, and locations of anomalous aerospace threats that originate from foreign or unidentified sources. take this slowly, okay? It is part of a network of special access programs that have to do with NHIs and UAPs, UFOs, and their intelligence drivers or what have you. This is not the only special access program that has to do with them. This says there is a network of special access programs linked together on these topics. And each special access program, as we talked about a good amount here, each special access program has their own particular list of who's allowed to know what. Even within the same SAP, you're not supposed to know everything about the SAP, right? If you're in one part of the program, you don't even know the whole program unless you're the leader of that program potentially. And that's just one. And it says there's a network. There could be dozens. There could be, 4, 5, 6, 7 or more, or 10 or more programs that are all are working on NHI and UFOs. So it's not as if this is oh my gosh, this is the NHI program. This is the UFO program. No. This is one of many. And that agrees with what we've known for several years about the Wilson Davis memo, that there are several programs that are dealing with this. And if you're not read into them, you don't get to know, even if you're the Assistant Secretary of Defense in that case. Okay, anyway. Bond Servant is asking, could untasked mean not easily identified program like super secret? While they're using it, I think tasked, I don't think it has to do with secrecy, or I don't think so. Could be wrong. Okay, so it's part of a network. Immaculate Constellation acts as a nexus for collecting, analyzing, and disseminating evidence on the activities, capabilities, and locations of anomalous aerospace threats that originate from foreign or unidentified sources. That could mean other countries when it says foreign. That's what we usually go to as an American, but it could also mean not of the earth. Like we know, oh, look, that came from the moon. That's a foreign source, but not unknown. We know the moon. For example, the intelligence within the Immaculate Constellation program primarily consists of high-quality imagery intelligence, pictures and videos, and infrared cameras, images, and collateral measurement and signature intelligence. We picked this up on this level of electromagnetic this, and we saw it at this place, stuff like that. The temperature, that kind of stuff. You measure those signatures of UAPs and ARVs within the Earth's atmosphere. So the intelligence within the program, Immaculate Constellation, primarily consists of high quality images, signals from within the Earth's atmosphere. That's why it's called a constellation. I speculated about this a couple weeks ago when it first came out, that the term constellation obviously refers to like stars in the sky. So it refers to probably satellites, or a way to get things in the air that are moving around in our airspace. Doesn't mean outer space, and it doesn't mean in the ocean necessarily, but it says within the atmosphere. They're already here, is what it's saying. And there's a lot of images of them. The collection platforms involved are a blend of tasked and untasked capabilities in low Earth orbit, which is the border between Earth's atmosphere and outer space. Low Earth orbit, the upper atmosphere, which is like higher than you can fly a plane, but below orbit. Military and civilian aviation altitudes, where your military and your civilian aircraft can fly, those heights. And maritime environments close to the water, right above the water. Immaculate Constellation pays particular attention to anomalous aerospace platforms. This is crazy. I mean, mind-blowing. Pays particular attention to anomalous aerospace platforms that have been developed through the study or acquisition of technologies of unknown origin by foreign nations or unknown entities. What the heck? You could study parts of this and extrapolate a lot. And I'm going to highlight this right now because I forgot to. Aerospace platforms that have been developed through the study or acquisition of technologies of unknown origin. Maybe that means the Roswell crash or other crashes or stuff found someplace that we don't know what this is. We didn't make that. We're going to study this and break it down and try to what we would call reverse engineer. Like, let's try to figure out how that works. Either we acquisition, that means we acquired it, we actually have it. Or just the study of it. So we know it exists and we can study it. We don't actually have it physically. So, but what probably means watching how they operate and like how can we replicate that? Platforms that have been developed through the study or acquisition of technologies of unknown origin by foreign nations or unknown entities. In other words, it's not studying American stuff. This is saying many things. This is saying that their foreign countries have already on their own. They have foreign nations have their own programs and own acquisition of unknown technologies, the UAPs or whatever else. Russia and China are the obvious nations. Could be others. Like what? Who has the budget to study these things or would care enough? India, Israel, Saudi Arabia, places in Europe, Great Britain, mainland Europe, Australia, Brazil. I don't know. But apparently other nations, it's just as foreign nations, have other technologies that are not human, unknown origin. They have studied or acquired those technologies and built their own platforms in aerospace. Again, right? This is a lot of, you got to think through these things. All right. Or unknown entities. An unknown nation, an unknown group also has, this is separate from whoever's driving the UAPs. He's saying somebody else, some other unknown entity has acquired technology of unknown origin or studied that and created stuff. Wild. UAP and ARV signatures and preferred operating areas are known to the program. enabling a degree of strategic awareness and warning. Did you catch that part? They are aware of signatures and preferred operating areas. In other words, they know where the UFOs are coming from or prefer to operate in areas of the Earth or around it, above it, under it. Doesn't say, but it says it's known what signatures are there. In other words, there's okay, we're about to have a UFO because we're picking up this signal, basically. There's a signature of this. We know something's going to be here now. So they can tell before it happens. Or maybe right after it happens. Like, oh, here's the data trail, the signal trail from a UFO that just was here and disappeared, but it keeps coming here to this place for some reason, this general area. So this is known to be an area where things happen. A strategic awareness and warning. They've said, again, this is not the first time this type of, it says warning here. It said, what did it say? Safety of the United States. It says, anyways, it's a early warning system too. In other words, there's still a concern in the United States government, whether it's well placed or not, we can't say at this point. But they're concerned that whatever this other intelligence is that's operating these things can attack us, and like an invasion. And we need a warning system. Enabling degree of strategic awareness and warning. Finally, Immaculate Constellation shows that UAP and ARVs, again, they're separate terms. They're saying they're separate things, are operating around the globe, often in close proximity to sensitive foreign assets and locations. Again, just to answer anybody who says this is an American issue or thing or problem, or it's got to be you Americans doing this, that's false. Again, I mean, it's worldwide and close to sensitive foreign assets and locations. I think that means their nuclear programs and their military bases, for example, especially Russia and China. Well, why would you do that if you were another society or whatever beings? The categorization of Immaculate Constellation as a there's a question here. Dictionary says untasked is non-commissioned. So the question is, does this indicate private entities doing stuff? Or at least using, I don't know, like Elon Musk, right? Like Starlink or something like that. Are they piggybacking, on, for example, on the Starlink system to help to detect and track these things? It could mean that. I wonder if regular folks picked up signals with ham radios. I don't know about that. Ham radios, but yeah, I mean, some people are taking it very seriously, and when it says signals, radio signals probably would not be the intention of that, or in other words, it would be much more broad than just a signal you can pick up on radio, like it would be not part of that spectrum. It would be something invisible or inaudible to the naked eye or the human ear. In fact, this does talk about detecting things that are invisible. Crazy stuff. Around the globe, often in close proximity. The categorization of Immaculate Constellation as a parent USAP. unacknowledged special access program with various child special access programs under its umbrella indicates a high level. So again, okay, let me just finish. Indicates a high level of compartmentalization and secrecy. In effect, Immaculate Constellation serves as a central or parent USAP that consolidates observations of UAP and ARV activities detected by tasked and untasked collection platforms. Again, just so we're not confused, it is not saying that Immaculate Constellation is the program. It does not say that. It says it's part of a network of special access programs that have to do with the UFO issue. It is one of many, and it's new, relatively speaking, right? Just after 2017. But it is not the program. It is part or an aspect or one small mission of the greater mission. But it does have other access programs under it. And that's for, as it just says, extreme secrecy. Sophisticated internal information security controls are a major part of the Immaculate Constellation program, which enforces compartmentalization by detecting, quarantining, and transferring UAP and RV imagery collection incidents before they are circulated within the military intelligence enterprise. What that all means is this program is designed, and its purpose is to vacuum up, detect, quarantine. That means no one else can see it. No one else is allowed. It's off limits, right? You quarantine someone when they're sick to put them off limits so they don't have contact with anyone else. So the information now is off limits to everyone else. When they say, oh, we detected, let's suck that up. So the regular Defense Intelligence Agency, the regular Pentagon, the non-read in parts never see it. So you have the old plausible deniability, right? It makes sense. Well, we don't have any evidence. We don't have any records of that program. We don't have any, of course, it's unacknowledged. How could I acknowledge it? We don't have any evidence of these signals and these UAPs in our atmosphere. What are you talking about? Well, because you wouldn't, would you? It's already been sucked up and kept away from you. Regular Admiral so-and-so or General such and such, which they may or may not be aware of that reality. But they can kind of truthfully say, even if they know the whole deal, which probably almost no one does, everything. But even if they did know, well, yeah, I know this Immaculate Constellation, wink, wink. But I'm not allowed to say it because it's unacknowledged. And I can truthfully say my department doesn't have any, what I oversee doesn't have any information on it, on this UFO stuff. You're right. It doesn't, because this program just sucked it up. So you never saw it. So you can't leak it. So it can't get out there. So you don't have to lie to the press corps if they ever rarely do drill down about this stuff. You can truthfully say you don't have it, because you don't. We do. I do want to read some more, you guys. I don't want to take forever on this, but it is turning lengthy. Hope you don't mind. Bond Servant says, I wonder if regular folk have picked up. Oh, we said that already. Sorry. Bond Servant says, well, perhaps the signals show up similar to what astronomers pick up signals light years away, light spectrum, distinct waveform, even more than that. Like, again, it would be like different. Anyways, there's lots of ways to get signals of stuff. What spectrum? yeah, the light, the electromagnetic, all that. But it doesn't even mean it's from other places, sponsor. It just means these signals are here. It's not like you're detecting something from far away. It's like it's just in Florida right now, but we can't see it. I've been authorized. Well, my unit leader has authorized we can take forever, quote unquote. Okay. Charles, hey Charles, on Facebook, Operation Stargate. He says hashtag Operation Stargate. I don't know, man. Let's just. I would prefer not to do that. Let's just stick to what we actually are reading and saying. And study this yourself, Charles. Okay, go get this, read it. Let's just not say, it's kind of lazy to say, oh, this is I heard about that before and this is that. Don't do that. It's a mistake. In conclusion, Immaculate Constellation shows that the U.S. government is not only aware of UAPs and TUO, technologies of unknown origin. Can we just drive this home? TUO means unknown. Origin means unknown origin. It means your government, the United States, in every special access program, period, does not know where this stuff comes from. We did not make it. Who's we, right? Okay, well, your normal people in society, your government, your military didn't make this. And no companies made it. It's either some other form of life, some other intelligence, or if they are human, they're totally separate and isolated from our world. Unknown origin. But also, in conclusion, Immaculate Constellation shows that the U.S. government is not only aware of UAPs and TUO, but also foreign state efforts to replicate UAP and TUO capabilities. The data, do you understand what that means? The data within Immaculate Constellation reveals the capacity of the U.S. armed forces and military intelligence community to detect, track, identify, and engage anomalous transmedium platforms. Engage means attack, or engage in what? Conversations? I don't know. Probably not. It says armed services and intelligence. So the point is interact somehow, militarily. Your U.S. armed services can detect, track, identify, and engage UFOs. Anomalous transmedium platforms. What does transmedium platform mean? It's something that can go space, the air, into the water, on the ground, maybe in the ground. And not just unknown, but we know that other countries have programs to create them. Immaculate Constellation also demonstrates the extent it exists, capability to detect, quarantine, and transfer UAP and RV collection incidents before they are observed and circulated within the military intelligence enterprise, partially explaining why many otherwise cleared members of the military and intelligence community are unaware of UAP activities. Finally, the existence of the Immaculate Constellation provides verifiable evidence of the witting participation by elements of the U.S. Armed Forces, Defense Civil Service, and the intelligence community in a global surveillance and reconnaissance mission tasked with monitoring UAPs and ARVs. The witting participation by some elements of your armed forces, American Patriot, and we American patriotic, especially us right-wingers, can't ever bring ourselves to question the military, can we? We're fine questioning the deep state. We're fine questioning the even spying, right? Intelligence, the CIA. Yeah, we're usually okay with that. But when it comes to the military, we have a huge blind spot, don't we? Because maybe we are service members. Maybe we know many who are in these jobs, and they're good people, and they're solid people, and they would never lie about this stuff. Well, guess what? The community of your military and intelligence groups are very large. So yes, there is definitely room for liars and witting participants in illegal action that will do the exact opposite of what you're being told. That's section 1. Okay, that was just section 1. I do want to do section 2 also. And then finally get to the why I said Bush through Biden, because there's evidence in here. It's just plainly stated from 1991 to 2022. There's hundreds of pieces of evidence from U.S. government personnel tracking, describing, encountering UAPs, etc., and you not being told about it on purpose. What 1991 was the George H.W. Bush years. So please, this is not a partisan issue. It's trans administration. It's not an era. It's not a conservative thing. It's not a Democrat thing. George H.W. Bush hit it. His administration, I mean, you can, right? The blame goes to the top. George W. Bush hit it. Bill Clinton hit it for 2 terms. George W. Bush hit it for 2 terms. Barack Obama hit it for 2 terms. Donald Trump hit it for 1 term. Joe Biden hit it for almost a whole term. He still has a chance, by the way, right? I mean, to be honest, like we talked about last week, he still has a chance to be the one who gets this all out there. I mean, Trump has been reelected, and the people that he's naming, almost to a man, are disclosure advocates, or at least have been, and admit this is a true thing. So it could be a very, very different administration this time, and people may be panicking about that, but it doesn't have to wait till then. The executive branch can fix this right now, today, in November. They don't have to wait till January 20th. If you're scared of what Trump can do or whatever, pressure Biden to do it now before he leaves. What's he got to lose? He's out of here. He's retiring. Frankly, he'll be dead soon. Section 2. Imagery intelligence. The U.S. government. I'm reading again from the published public Immaculate Constellation whistleblower report that is now part of the public record. U.S. government maintains imagery intelligence databases accessible to personnel with appropriate security clearances and mission need. These databases are scattered across various organizations and services, leading to a fragmented ownership structure. This dispersion complicates the timely and comprehensive gathering of imagery intelligence related to UAPs. Control over access to these data sets primarily reside with the military intelligence enterprise, the combatant commands, the armed services, and individual program managers. So this is saying there is so much imagery scattered throughout this world, this military world and intelligence world. Part of the reason why it's hard to get them is because they're coming, different managers have access to different parts of it. The imagery intelligence, and I'm just, instead of saying the letter abbreviations, I'm trying to make it easier to understand, to hear. The imagery intelligence collected from data sets available to the Department of Defense, which is, again, where this person worked and got this information, at least at that time. The intelligence collected from data sets available to the Department of Defense and reviewed for this report provide compelling evidence for UAP, which defy prosaic explanations. There is a large number of unique imagery sensors available to the U.S. military and intelligence community, including infrared IR, forward-looking infrared FLIR, full motion video. That's your typical like 4K camera. Thermal heat is something that's hot or cold. It can see it, even though you can't see with your eyes. Infrared, obviously, you can't see with your eyes either. Thermal and still photography, regular old pictures. The multitude of wavelengths collected by these sensors, so in all that, have captured UAP characteristics that are difficult or impossible to observe with the human eye alone. Got it? Okay. Subtle atmospheric effects associated with UAPs are visible through the sensors employed by the U.S. military and intelligence agencies, enabling unique analytic techniques. The verifiable chain of custody for UAP imagery intelligence collected by the U.S. military assets ensures a high level of confidence in the accuracy and integrity of the data gathered. The following examples are presented. In other words, this is all correct. It's been seen, it's logged. We know where it came from. We know it's true. We know it's real evidence from real instruments that we run. CENTCOM, that's Central Command. That is the Middle East, basically, part of the world. Central Command, cuboid formation of metallic orbs. In other words, they are saying there is either high video, full motion video, infrared, thermal, or photography of these incidents that has not been released to you. On U.S. government networks, there exists daytime full motion video. Isn't that what we all clamor for? Don't show me anything that's fuzzy. Don't show me anything that's obscured. It's at night. It's a flashing light. Who knows what that really is? Daytime full motion video and daytime FLIR footage. So it's not just a trick. Somehow a video isn't reliable all of a sudden. Well, now we have backup from infrared cameras. Daytime full motion video and daytime FLIR footage of a formation of approximately 12 metallic orbs. By the way, yes, I have seen a metallic orb myself in the sky, just sitting there. Now, it wasn't 12 of them. I didn't see any other ones, but I saw one This was just 6 months, 4 months ago. It's June, July, August, September, October, November. 5 months ago. So I know what this is talking about. There are 12 metallic orbs skimming the ocean surface at high speed before dispersing in multiple directions. So this is somewhere around the Middle East, maybe Indian Ocean, maybe Mediterranean Sea. It says the ocean, so probably not the Atlantic. It's probably the Indian Ocean. That's like the Saudi, the Arabian side between Saudi and India, maybe off the African coast. Probably, that's my guess. Anyway, 12 metallic orbs skimming the ocean surface at high speed before dispersing in multiple directions. The rapid and agile maneuvering of the metallic orbs were incompatible with known aerospace vehicles and were between 3 to 6 meters in diameter. In the opening segment of this footage, so this person has watched it, can prove that it exists. In the opening segment of this footage, the 12 metallic orbs flew in a tight cuboid formation, like a cube, like a square, three-dimensional square, and 12 of them. You can imagine, imagine 12 points on a piece of paper, like a 3D cube. The 12 metallic orbs flew in a tight cuboid formation. The metallic orbs were in 3 vertical square formations of about 4 orbs each. Hence the 12. Arranged in 3-pronged configuration, creating the illusion of a cube shape at distance. So in other words, if you were far away, you could think it's just one cube, one square thing flying around, but in reality it was actually created by 12 metallic orbs. 12 orbs. All the orbs were white hot against the black cold ocean in the FLIR footage, and each sphere created a faint atmospheric distortion around itself, both around itself and as a heat shimmer contrail. Probably have seen this yourself. If you've seen videos of UFOs and orbs and stuff, you can notice what this is saying. It's clearer on high def, obviously, and full motion daytime video. But if you've seen videos like this, you know what it means. It has like a shimmering kind of fuzzy outside around the orb, around the vehicle or whatever, and as it goes and zips around or flies somewhere, it's almost like a tail of that distortion like follows it. It's not exhaust, it's not smoke, right? It's not traditional like what we would think of that, but whatever that is, that distortion of the atmosphere, they say, you probably have seen what it's talking about. So I totally believe this is real. All the orbs were white hot against the black cold ocean of the FLIR footage, created a heat shimmer contrail. The metallic orbs moved in this cube formation over the ocean for some time before rapidly breaking formation in pairs. The sensor platform lost track of most of the metallic orbs as they ascended in altitude and accelerated in speed, but maintained observation on a pair of metallic orbs continuing the original trajectory of the larger formation. So they were all flying in a group of 12. For some reason, 10 of them broke off and flew off into the sky, but 2 continued. That's what it says. And there's full motion daytime video of this. Example 2, CENTCOM. Again, Middle East, North Africa, Indian Ocean. Fast mover observed transiting over sensitive facilities. On U.S. government networks, there exists FLIR footage, forward infrared, of a small to medium oval UAP flying at high speed. This is what you would call a tic-tac shape. Maybe a tic-tac vehicle if you're familiar, okay? Small to medium oval UAP flying at high speed and low to the surface. The footage begins as routine surveillance of a sensitive coastal facility. Whatever it is, it's a sensitive facility, some kind of nuclear or military or weapons facility on the coast of some country. And this is flying near it. It says the footage begins when the oval UAP rapidly comes into the frame as it flies above the coastal facilities. The oval UAP then makes a rapid turn towards the ocean where it is tracked by the collection platform. Immaculate Constellation. The oval UAP is tracked flying low over the open ocean at high speed before the track is lost. So again, it's like that footage you've seen that has been released, but it's not by the Navy. Or it's better. Okay. Right. Now, Indo-PACOM. That's the Indo-Pacific. In other words, between India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Australia, south of China and Japan, somewhere in there. Intelligence vessels positioned to collect on reproduction vehicle. Now, here's that thing that's not a UAP, but it's a reproduction vehicle positioned to collect on it. On U.S. government networks, there exists infrared footage of and imagery of pictures, a grouping of vessels engaged in SIGINT and MASINT, signal intelligence, and what's that other intelligence? What's MASINT? Shoot, I can't find it. Anyway, there's a group of vessels collection at night in a specific area of the Pacific Ocean. Now, this tells me this is not American vessels. It's another country's Navy. Several ships of another country's Navy in a specific area of the Pacific Ocean. So it's not the Indian Ocean. So again, it sounds like off Australia or Philippines, South China Sea, perhaps by Indonesia. There are not many countries with navies that can do such things, so the list is short. At night in the Pacific Ocean, in this footage, which was in close proximity to the vessels, somehow we got signal intelligence that can go very close to another country's Navy. Close proximity to the vessels, a large equilateral triangle UAP suddenly appears directly over the ships. 3 bright points are seen at each bottom corner of the UAP, which is observed to slowly rotate on its horizontal axis. We have a bunch of ships. All of a sudden, it just says appears. Suddenly appears. Doesn't say zoomed in from outer space. It just boop, it's there. Maybe it was so fast you didn't even notice it, but boop, here it is, a giant triangle over your ships now. Equal edges, equal sides. And it has bright points under each corner. And it's rotating slowly. The rotation partially reveals a horizontal bar of sweeping lights. Intelligence analysts associated with this event specify that the equilateral triangle is a reproduction vehicle and concludes that the vessels must have been aware of the RV's frequent use of those coordinates. due to foreign pre-positioning of advanced collection assets at the exact time and place. In other words, they knew where it was going to be somehow. Exactly. And it's called a reproduction vehicle. Again, does that mean this country made it based on UFO technology, or does it mean there's some kind of communication or ways to figure out where they will be, and the job of this vehicle is to do something else? Intelligence analysts associated with this event specified this was a reproduction vehicle. Okay. After a brief period of hovering and slowly rotating at approximately 500 to 1,000 meters above the ocean, the RV suddenly disappears and the footage ends. Okay. Giant triangle suddenly appears over the ocean, over a ship's location where they apparently know where it's going to be. It does this slow rotating. There's a light bank. What does it say? Horizontal, partially reveals a horizontal bar of sweeping lights. As it's rotating, I guess it's pointing maybe downward with these lights and doing some kind of, it's sweeping the area for some reason, and then it suddenly goes away, and then the footage ends. Okay. Same location, Indo-Pacific, equilateral triangle UAP, tails unwitting vessel. Unwitting. It's not willing to be followed. It doesn't know what this is. It's not cool with the giant triangle being there. On U.S. government networks, there exists infrared footage of an equilateral triangle UAP, approximately fighter jet sized, small, relatively, hovering less than 200 meters above a vessel in the night at a location in the Pacific. Intelligence analysts associated with this event specifies that the equilateral triangle is an ARV or RV of unknown origin. That's a little different than the last one. It didn't say unknown origin that time. It just said reproduction vehicle, not a RV. But now this is called an ARV of unknown origin. The vessel gives no signs that it is aware of the ARV maintaining altitude and bearing directly overhead. Two lights on the underside of the ARV are visible, while a third is blocked from view due to the slightly upward angle of orientation. And that's the only thing it says about that one. Indapacom, same area, South Pacific Ocean. Large disk using clouds as concealment. On U.S. government's networks, there exists OPIR footage, something infrared, of a large disc-shaped UAP emerging from within a dense cloud formation. I think of the Bible right there. Right? Behold, I come with the clouds, and every eye will see me. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's Independence Day. Right? Remember Independence Day, where the ship first appears to the people? It was in a cloud, like roiling over, and then it emerges. Anyway. A large UAP emerging from a dense cloud formation. The saucer registered black hot against white cold, with atmospheric disturbances caused by the saucer-shaped UAP visible. I guess that means that blurry thing of like the orbs, or I don't know, might be different. Atmospheric disturbances, lightning. I don't know. Caused by the saucer-shaped UAP visible. The saucer was between 200 and 400 meters in circumference and displayed symmetrical concavities on the upper surface. It wasn't flat or smooth. It had dips or holes or whatever, but they were uniform around the surface, the top. The saucer-shaped UAP emerges at a shallow angle, traveling upwards towards the outer atmosphere. After breaking the cloud cover, the saucer-shaped UAP suddenly reverses direction, descending partially back into the cloud cover, then accelerating rapidly out of frame and partially obscured by the cloud tops. And there's a spelling error right there. It says could tops, cloud tops. This behavior was evasive in nature and implied, listen to this, implied that the saucer-shaped UAP had become aware that it was under observation, number one, and then it tells you what was observing it, by a space-based collection platform. So it was looking, in other words, it's space-based collection. This is Space Force. This is a secret satellite constellation. It's satellites from space looking down into the clouds. That's why I could see the top with the concavities. But it became aware that it was under observation. So it's like, whoop, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. I'm out. It was known that it was being watched. One more from this part of the world. Indo-Pacific boomerang UAP observed by pilot and sensor suite. On U.S. government networks, there exists FLIR footage of a swept boomerang UAP. Like not a closed triangle, but like two, like that. What's it say? Swept. So I guess maybe it's like rounded at the where they connect, or at the turn. But boomerang, you know what a boomerang is. Swept boomerang UAP maneuvering at an uncertain altitude at the location off the eastern coast of a country. Okay. There can't be that many again. The UAP is tracked against clouds by the sensor suite of the operating craft. In other words, it says the pilot and sensor suite. Well, it doesn't say what kind of I assume it's a regular aircraft, like a jet. Though it doesn't say that. The UAP is observed rapidly decelerating to a stationary hover, followed by the sudden emission of a sphere of light from the junction of the two wings, that part where they come together, that the corner, an emission of a sphere of light which expands to partially engulf the craft in a rotating sphere of light, at which point the footage ends. What in the world is happening? Northcom. Friends, this is North America. This is probably the continental United States. Oh, here it is. Jellyfish UAP crosses U.S.-Mexico border. Well, we know where that is. You know where the U.S. border is with Mexico. On U.S. government networks, there exists FLIR footage of an irregularly shaped UAP flying across the southern border. The UAP appeared in FLIR to be mottled irregularly with hot and cold emissions and approximated a jellyfish or floating brain with hanging appendages in appearance. You may have seen from Mr. Corbell, Mr. Knapp, a thing that looks just like this, the jellyfish UAP, right? They released that footage several months ago, but that wasn't from the United States-Mexico border. That was from Iraq. think, or Afghanistan. I think it was Iraq. It was a base in Iraq, U.S. base, displaying this exact behavior and this exact look, right? It looked like a flying brain, or a jellyfish. It had like the roundish, bulbous kind of top, and then things hanging below it, like appendages. The UAP flew against the wind. So the wind was blowing in its face and it's going right into it with no visible means of propulsion, maintained an unnatural rigidity in its movements and flight path, and maintained a comparatively low altitude to geographic features. In appearance and behavior, footage of this UAP violating the airspace of the southern border resembled the same class of UAPs observed near DoD, Department of Defense facilities in Iraq and Afghanistan. There exists at least one compilation video of this class of UAP sourced from Department of Defense Force Protection Assets and Theater ISR, which uses this footage as a point of comparison. So there's a Defense Department, your military has a compilation video of brain or jellyfish UAPs. There's so many of them that there's a compilation. And that apparently are very interested in our facilities overseas. That's why we have so many videos of them. Because they're tracked all the time. So once again, for the millionth time in this document, don't believe your government when they tell you that there is no evidence, that there is no video, that there is no such thing, that there is no program, that there is no reason to look into these things, that they're all can be explained prosaically. Now, there's flying freaking brains all over the world, including in America. So shut up. Let's get through this, friends. Northcom. There's a couple more examples. There's two more. Northcom, that's again North America. Supersonic range fowler, nickname that we give these things when they're in certain places, intercepts U.S. Navy fighter. On U.S. government networks, there exists FLIR footage and radar data of a supersonic UAP, in other words, flying faster than the speed of sound. We don't have many things that can do that, period, by the way. We have a couple of jets that can break the sound barrier, and Russia has a missile, and I guess we do now too, that can do it. But that's pretty much it. Supersonic UAP of uncertain characteristics. In other words, I guess it was going so fast where you can't figure out what it looks like, really. It's just thing. Conducting a head-on intercept of a U.S. Navy fighter operating off the eastern seaboard. In other words, this is my neck of the woods. This is off the east coast of the United States. Doesn't say exactly where, but there's not that many options, like as far as naval bases, and there's a couple. It's probably either off the coast of Virginia or Florida. The UAP is observed emerging from a cloud bank at high speed and approaching the U.S. Navy aircraft head on, rapidly passing over the left side of the cockpit. Radar data from this approach tracks the UAP on this approach toward the craft, providing information on speed, heading, and elevation. In other words, we don't only just see it on this footage, but the radar data tells you how close it got, how fast it was, and how high it was. So there's not just, wow, that was a weird camera trick. You can't tell pilots that they're not in danger when things like that happen. You can't say this isn't a risk, a threat. It's flying right at your face. This pilot could have been killed. Even if the UAP or whatever didn't hit the plane, you would say, "Oh my gosh, it's coming right for me. I'm bailing out." Or I'm evasive maneuver and crash to the ocean or whatever. Your pilots are literally in danger, and you're being told that there's nothing there. I'd be really angry if I was a pilot for the Navy or any of the other services. What if this pilot, very understandably, would have some mental issues after this, or had to retire, or had physical issue like I can't fly anymore, or like I need to be on disability, like, right? How do you address all that? Okay, Southcom. This is South America, the last example. On U.S. government networks, there exists OPIR, again, infrared imagery and mass-int, some kind of intelligence, of a Tic Tac UAP transiting through an area of the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so it's what, off the coast of Brazil, probably, or Argentina. Through an area of the Atlantic Ocean. The Tic Tac maneuvers at an altitude at or near local cloud cover, and correlated electromagnetic signatures were collected by mass-int. Oh, that's signal intel, right? Okay. In the available footage, the Tic Tac UAP transits rapidly through the field of regard as it transits the ocean. No observed reaction is seen to come from the vessel, but its proximity in time and space to the trajectory of this UAP suggests foreknowledge of the UAP event by intelligence. So whatever this country was that had a ship out there, again, it seemed like the evidence is that they knew that Tic Tac would be there. And that's why I was looking. Okay. I think I just want to touch on this last bit. And then it talks about what your normal UFOs look like. The U.S. government, Section 3 says the U.S. government maintains a database of intelligence collected by military personnel across a plethora of topics, including UAP. These individual reports are considered raw, quote unquote, because they have not undergone evaluation, corroboration, or contextualization into a finished analytical product by military intelligence community analysts. A significant volume of reports documenting first-hand encounters with UAPs or UFOs by Department of Defense personnel. Okay, not normal people, not people who need to get their stories straight, or not people the government doesn't trust. Your soldiers and otherwise, as Department of Defense, there's a lot of jobs in there. But this is just by Department of Defense personnel, just by military people. First-hand encounters with UFOs or UAPs exists within defense human intelligence databases. Many of these UAP reports are filed by military aviators and pilots, as well as service members trained in foreign military intelligence collection activities, and often include photographic evidence and sensor data. So you got an eyewitness report that I saw this. I'm a pilot. I also got a picture of it, and my sensors picked it up. They're saying this is tremendously huge amount of these things. When aggregated, These reports reveal significant information on UAPs. This section is directly informed by reviewing. So this person wrote this, said personally they reviewed over 400 defense human intelligence reports on encounters with UAPs by U.S. government personnel from 1991 through 2022. It must be noted this data set is not exhaustive. Other human intelligence data sources exist, which are omitted from this analysis. The defense human intelligence data set summarized here highlights notable trends in the reporting stream and are presented here along with specific examples. Again, I just want to stress the date and the number, the dates, this time frame, and the number. Just, he said, this person is saying this is just a small data set from this particular time, these particular people, but there's still over 400 examples. If you give 400 examples and you have the same darn story over and over again, that's significant. You can say it's true. It's happening. Okay, this is just another brick in that wall, okay? And again, what does it say? From 1991, people were experiencing the same things firsthand in the sky, as pilots, as other Department of Defense people themselves. They're not hearing it from civilians. They're not hearing stories or collecting data from someone else, a MUFON or something. It's like their own people. And a lot of these folks don't think their reports went anywhere, but they did. And they're kept, and they're lied to by the superiors. They don't talk about this anymore, whatever. You told us, now let's get on with life. Well, yeah. From 1991 to 2002, again, Bush the first, Clinton, George W. Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, all of those administrations, all of those things that you think are somehow different, or that the deep state doesn't apply to one party or the other, or that it's just a recent thing. Wrong, wrong, and wrong. This issue transcends, not to use this new agey word or whatever, but this issue transcends all of that. Partisan bickering, philosophical differences, philosophy about government styles, all that means nothing. This issue is bigger than all that. That's why I said it doesn't matter who wins the election, because this issue is going to hang over whoever is in the White House. And it's viewed as more important than whoever is in the White House and control of the government. It doesn't matter. They're just temporary employees. You're not allowed to know. And therefore, I am not allowed to know. And you are listening are not allowed to know, because your big brother, or whatever, says you are too immature and you're a child and you can't handle it. One final thing. From 1991 to 2002. And again, this is not just collected and like, oh, that's nice. I didn't know we were listening since the first George Bush administration to these pilots and so forth. It's illegally hidden from you. This information is illegally being kept from the Congress. It's illegally being stored away in programs that are not being revealed. It's illegally your money has been illegally taken to pay for these things. Most common UAP shapes from 1991 to 2022 in this data set were spheres and orbs. They are the most reported shape, with variations from smooth, featureless orbs to spheres with visible openings or appendages. These objects' prevalence suggests a possible standard in UAP design or function capable of high maneuverability and speed. The diversity within the sphere category, spanning from simple polished appearances, again, that's what I saw. A smooth polished sphere hanging around, to more complex structures with appendages, things hanging off them, suggests a broad range of purposes or technologies unique to the platform's mission and or the originator, whoever created it. Ovals, discs, and saucers were next most popular. So spheres or orbs were number 1. Discs, saucers, 2. Ovals / tic-tacs were 3. And then finally triangles, boomerangs, and then somewhat, but still there, irregular or organic. The triangles, boomerangs, and arrowhead shapes were by far the rarest, and spheres the most common. Jellyfish or floating brains with appendages, and elongated triangles as well as equilateral triangles. All right, and then there's several pages about what they look like, the size and speed, colors, surface details, behaviors of all the different types. And you heard the Lou Elizondo talk about the 5 observables or the 6 observables. Some of these are listed right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 observables here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. 1, 2, right. Biological effects. That one is only, again, this is for your time to biological effects were only detailed in spheres or orbs and triangles. Doesn't mean that they don't happen elsewhere, but oh wait, there's one more. Irregular or organic. Organic, irregular meaning the flying brain things, the jellyfish. Organic, and it goes to describe it later here, as shape changing. Like it's actually changing shape as you watch it. Maybe you've seen video of that too. There's one out there. It's what is this? It's floating along, but it's a circle. No, it's not. It has points. It looks like a piece of paper that's crumpled up. It keeps changing. There's lights inside. There's not lights. It's the craziest stuff you ever saw. All right. That's about all I want to say about this. Maybe part of the conclusion. Okay. So it goes through all these sections. That was only section 1, 2, and 3. Okay. 4, 5, and 6 tells you the different aspects of this. Section 7, secretive sources or sensitive sources. It says right there, from mouth to ear. So that's not in here. Is that in the non-public version? I don't know. What is different about the non-public versus the public? Is there a non-public? It looks like there is. Conclusion. The official disclosure of the existence of non-human intelligences, plural, and their presence on Earth is a pivotal moment in human history. The nature of this information is of such incomparable relevance to the public good that it demands to be shared. Some may object and say that disclosure at this time poses too many risks. To them, it must be said that we will never be able to predict how individuals, families, communities, and nations will react to revelations of such magnitude. Moving forward, we must guard against the lure of authoritarian solutions justified by expediency and appeals to national security. I'll read this last sentence, even though I have a problem with it. The good in humanity will always triumph over time, I don't believe that. It is in moments of crisis that our capacities for achieving the extraordinary are discovered. Be not afraid. That's Jesus' quote. For example. Okay. I totally agree with most of that. You cannot rely on the authoritarian solution justified by expediency, and that's just too easy not to. If we've always done it, let's continue to do it, or appeals to national security. It's just not good enough of a reason, even if it's true. There you have it. Some of the Immaculate Constellation whistleblower document. Obviously, I recommend you see it and read it yourself. Highlight, notate what you think is important. Reach out to your, if you're American, to your government representatives. There's a lot to digest in here. It's not just one claim. It is many, many specific, very specific claims, easily disproven, honestly. If it is not true, it's easy to disprove. And somebody go ask the State Department today. Go ask the State Department right now. What is this? Who is this person? Where are they working? Well, why is the State Department involved? Go to your legislator, download it, attach it, bring it to their office. Like, hey, just so you know, this was just introduced to the Congress as evidence of a secret, illegal, multi-year, multi-decade potentially. Well, I pretend we saw the records since 1991, at least, that are available to somebody who's not even in the program. Okay, this person was not in Immaculate Constellation. This is happening. It's illegal. It's stealing God knows how much money from me and us, and it's unconstitutional, and it's the end of the United States if you don't do something about this right now. Maybe too late already. And it's potentially it is a potential threat. It is an urgent and credible threat to the public good and safety of the United States of America. That is a phrase, urgent and credible, that David Grush was told by the Inspector General, or was the Inspector General of, I forget which one, he submitted it to two of them, said his claims were credible and urgent. So, who wrote this? I don't know. It seems like they want to be anonymous, and they might still be in the government. They have to be. So I don't think it's anyone that has come out. You can't say it's Lou Elizondo wrote that, vindicating himself. Oh, there was one more piece in there. Speaking of which, about Elizondo himself, that gives him a lot of credit for moving this. I didn't even get to the part about the human intelligence, claims of the F-22 being intercepted and having to make evasive maneuvers. The F-22 is the greatest plane that's ever been invented by human beings. I think it's certainly the class of the United States. But UAPs make it run away. Bureaucratic records on Section 4 says separately, the additional internal records confirm the claims of Mr. Lou Elizondo regarding ATIP and OSAP's mission, activities, and findings. Additional documents support the exceptional character and credibility of Mr. Elizondo. These non-public documents include letters of commendation, service award nominations, performance and promotion reviews, archived email chains, and ATIP OSAP program briefings, which directly corroborate the public statements of Mr. Elizondo. These records also provide additional insight into the activities of ATIP OSAP, the evolution of the program's findings, and its interactions with senior Department of Defense leadership. Finally, these records provide insight into the highly classified and suppressed areas of scientific research and technology development derived from the study and exploitation of UAP and NHI technologies. So this document, among many other things, is saying it is a fact that not only UFOs are real, but there is a non-human intelligence, whatever you call that, that's behind it. And they're already here. It's not something you have to find out in the stars. They're not. We don't even know where they're. It does nothing about what they are, what they want, or anything. Just saying there is a program that's secret and it's illegal and it's being kept from the world and your citizens, and it needs to come out, and all this needs to come out. So there it is, friends. The Immaculate Constellation document shows illegal UFO programs from Bush through Biden, and a lot more than that. So if there's no questions or anything you wanted to get in before we leave, it's been almost 2 hours already, which is longer than our normal podcast for sure. The crowd goes wild. Hey, whatever. Thanks, boss. Maybe they did. Who knows? Anyway, share this, please. Really, really appreciate that. And hit me up with any questions, or if you want to talk privately, DMs are open at Manti4 X platform. If you want to email, you can. Christopher at wingsoftheeagle.com. I also have a Proton email if you want to. Pastor Manti at proton.me if you prefer that. All right, but do reach out if you want. And this isn't over, friends. This is just getting started, and it seems like it's going to get a lot crazier before anything else. So stay on top of it. Reach out. Till next time, for Unsealed, the official podcast of Wings of the Eagle. Please support what we do here, wingsoftheeagle.com/donate, or at least subscribe as a member to the YouTube channel or Patreon. Thank you much. Till next time. Bye-bye.